It was a gun.
I'm not voting.
If we want to build our nation.
The problem with the Somalians.
Just want to experience something else than a black man.
Move on, move
Can't be like
forward.
a horse with blinkers on.
Honestly say, I was about to have
Corrupt
sex and then I pulled
crap,
up.
but it's nice.
This apartheid thing. The ultimate attempt then to block the passages between people, rocks that stop the flow of love words, separations of selves that are always already porous. We are the bridges that bind us, roots overgrown with weeds like lies of difference. We contain each other, living mirrors of mutual observation. We are the sky between birds, the blood between bodies, always overflowing.
Igqirha lendlela nguqo ngothwane. Igqirha lendlela nguqo ngothwane. Iyazika lenqanawe bonke abakholwa kumaphupha mabasixolise. Iyazika lenqanawe onke amathambo omzimba amabolile konje nebhula. Isono sam kuba nesazela segqothi ikatile leziko. Le yingcinga ephazamisa inhloni ubona nje abakuthi bahlinza inhlanzi ezinezifundiswa zaseKapa. Okay, I might be too cool. Or leave I'm too good. I'm the leader of the new school. Don't tell me about who's who. I do a lot of things, but I don't lose. Excuse the flow. The levels are so good. Bang.
Poems of solidarity and clarity, poems that mend broken laws, the ones who are about philosophy, classism, racism, and sexism, those that promote years of grace, embrace poems of the no, those that led the misled poets. Oath is broken in Saxon worshiping. This is a love poem, love from the poet, the sonnet with lengthy ideology. It is hope to the hopeless, deja vu to the dreamers.
Nyawo zam ndithatha undibeke. Ndibeke esinyeni sentaba ndinkqonkqoze kumqolomba amathamsanqa. Undibeke kufumeni kwezandla zakhe ze ndinqamle ubuncinwane boncumo lwakhe ndicaphule konobumba bakhulu esandini sokubetha kwenhliziyo yakhe. Undithatha undibeke kwezela amadinga apha ingcinga izingcengcelezo zobusi ze ndithi ndakuqabuka ndiqale ndiqonde umqabaqaba igqabi leqhinga ndinguye ndakubhodlela ephepheni ndikhohlelele esibeni kaloku wena usisifo sephepha uthando emfubeni. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Peter. I'm a poet and founder of the poetry NPO in Zinc Poetry. We've been doing poetry session for the past 6 years here in Amazink where we're sitting, and we also run a poetry collective called The Incredibles.
Hi, I'm Fingo. I'm the poet. My poetry name is Whichkai.
My name is Vusi, and I'm part of the Incredibles. I'm a poet myself, and I've been doing poetry for quite some time now, over 5 years. So yeah, it's 6 years now.
Yo, I'm Spumeze Gorcha, and I'm part of the Incredibles group. I'm also a rapper, but I do poem.
Hi, my name is Kolisa. My surname is Mbeleko. I'm a poet. I'm also part of Incredibles.
We all writers, correct? And it's just a matter of which platform you belong to or which platform which allows you to write. So I think for me, poetry has always been that platform for me to like tell my stories the way I want to tell them. You know, it's you see, poetry, there are so many ways in which you can steal people's ear, but poetry, it's one platform whereby people's ear, you steal them in a way that even after the performance, even after the spoken word movement, they still, you still leave a mark in their souls, you know. So poetry has always been that voice of the unheard, and I believe that as poets, we still have a long way to go, you know, to let people know, to emphasize more on what is poetry. Because when you speak of poetry, all people think about are emotions, all people think about are loves, whereas poetry, it's vital, it's different.
I started poetry in 2009. I was just writing till last year that I decided that I have to perform and tell what I've been writing to the ears now, not only the eyes. Because I've been writing for people, you know, just to read them on Facebook. So now I decided, and many people said that I must join in and tell my story using my mouth, not only the writing. So that's when I started saying, and also seeing that I've been coming to the Inzing sessions, seeing people telling their story. That's when I decided that I really need to tell my own story in that way.
There was this girl I loved like so dearly. I used to like write letters, you know, trying to, you know, to be romantic and stuff. But as time, you know, went on, I started to realize, you know, there's more than just, you know, to write about my girlfriend or whatsoever. And I started, you know, performing and being part of the NSYNC, and I was exposed to so much. And, now that I get to be a politician, president, I get to be somebody's lover, I get to be somebody's parent, like I get to be everything that I write. So there's so much inspiration, behind. It's just the anchor of everything. Actually, I was like sitting home, watching a mountain, and I had this girlfriend of mine who lived like plus minus 20 legs away. So I was like thinking of her, and I was like, okay, it would take it would take a work for me to go and actually, get to see her. And I was like, okay, and I'm looking at the mountain, so why don't you mountain take me to her? So I took, the two, like, can you please, legs, lift me to her?
We don't want to be, let's say, coffins of our own dreams. So if we tell people stories that you can live beyond your own expectations, not what only people expect of you, but you can live beyond this world. You can have your own imagination set up into a living world. So that's how I write my poetry.
In general, I think, for me personally, poetry has helped to sculpt my identity. I've used poetry to understand myself and also to reinvent myself and to reimagine myself. I think under the rights, I don't think there's necessarily anything inherent in poetry that makes it a force for change for the good. I think it's about how you use poetry. It's about where you use poetry. It's about who you listen to. It's about the audience that you bring together. And I think it's also about your intent, your purpose. Why are you bringing people together to listen to each other's stories? What is it that you want to happen, from these engagements?
As people, like we different. How we view stories, it's different. Some prefer to listen to stories when they listen to music. Some prefer poetry. Some read a book, as Mfingo says. So for us, this is like the best way, because you get to interact with people and steal their souls. Now, at that moment, that's when you divulge a story.
I have realized that not all of us are aware of things that are happening. Some are personally, some, like politically, we're not really aware. So for an example, a poet would say something related to politics, a person would now be aware of whatever the situation that be. So I feel it's quite a good, platform of like addressing situations or addressing problems or affairs. Like, okay, hey, this is what's happening. Are you aware? Are you? So it's quite good.
The issues that most inspire me is politics, because we still have this division that we have. So we're still not united as people think we are. Because when we got this freedom, this so-called freedom, it was not freedom. It was just democracy, where people can vote. That's it. And that was it. So I think if we can still say, okay, now we have freedom, where people can express themselves in a way that they want. Because even now there are laws that are being debated on, where the people are not going to say whatever they want to say about the government people. So it's like, how come we vote for you and then you are telling us not to say anything about you while we gave you the power that you have? So it's like, we still have this thing of understanding politics before we can say we are free.
Social issues are the one that pushes me. But the biggest and the only concern I think we're all facing is that if we're writing about teenage pregnancy, those teens who are pregnant do not much listen to poetry. If we're talking about drugs, those guys who are doing drugs are not listening to poetry. If we talk about fast cars, those people who are driving fast cars are not listening to poetry. And very yet, we are addressing these issues. So the question is, to who?
One of the things always is, for me, is how do I make sense of myself in this space right now? And so questions of identity are for me, are perennial questions that I return to. I think also, questions of history, of what we know about history, what stories get told, which stories don't get told, who gets to tell these stories. And also, I think something that I write when something moves me, when I get angry about something, or I get happy about it, or whatever. If I have an intense emotional reaction to something that happens in my life, I usually use that as a springboard to write because there's a reason why I've been affected emotionally and I want to try and explore that reason.
Ndibhala nangantoni na ethe yafika kum engqondweni ngelo xesha ndiziva ngalo. Uba mhlawumbi ndihleli nabalingani bam ikhona mhlawumbi ibona into baphazamisileyo, I can like pick up on that and I can write a poem. Even if like ndihleli ndedwa and something just hits me, I can be like, go, yeah, I write about anything.
It comes and goes. The fact remains that poetry will always be there and our stories will be told. So with hope and faith that somehow one day they will get to hear the stories. But thus far, I see how things go. Whatever issue we're trying to push to the people, to reach into people's ear, the people we want to reach exact do not really pay attention to what we want to tell them or what we are warning them about or how we opening their eyes. It's like when you write about politics and then you are addressing the voters, but the voters won't open their eyes, and that's the reality of life. Yeah.
There's actually two issues that really drives me, into writing. The first one is definitely love. The second one is how us, people or human, how we, move away from the origin of, man nature. Because now, if we look really, we're doing things because we don't really, not value ourselves, but like we don't really understand where we come from and where we're going in a way. Not political wise per se, not political wise or social wise, but individual. So I'm also fascinated by that, like where we come from, where are we going, what is it that is really disturbing us from actually discover our origin of man nature. So it's
My dream is to tell the best story Africa has ever had and to touch every African child's heart.
My dream is to see this world peaceful.
My dream is to live in a place where everybody is free to express themselves in whatever way that they want to express themselves.
My dream is to regain our Africanness.
My dream is to go to Mars. Masambeni.
Yazi, you should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong. You should ever sit and talk with people, or else take a walk and create a straight talk. Talk what is nice, it will make you feel stronger. Listen what is right and say what is wrong.